I didn't have to rely on the doctor's confirmation. The signs were already there. But for clarity, I had to. And indeed, the doctor clarified I was pregnant. Margis Carfon said, pregnancy is getting company inside one's skin. Well, here's my wonderful, weird, special pregnancy experience. The clarity of me being pregnant filled my heart and soul with joy and love and true happiness. And when I got to my house, my very first verbal expression of love was, wow, there's a baby inside of me. I looked straight in the mirror, thank God for the spiritual blessing that He had blessed right into my womb. Later on, I sat down and wrote a special letter to my unborn child to constantly remind me of what I truly felt. In fact, of the raw emotions that I truly felt the first time she was inside my skin. And here's what I wrote. Dear my child, it's the 20th of December. I just found out I'll be having you, my little angel. You've always been a part of my prayers. I love you to the moon and back. I'm so excited and overwhelmed by this whole journey with you. All I can think of right now is that you are the most beautiful spiritual blessing that has ever happened to me, my little angel. I thank God for you. I thank the heavens for you, little angel. I love you, my angel, my miracle, my blessing, Mom. So when I talked to my partner, of course, he was the first person I talked to. He felt blessed. He felt good. He felt happy. He constantly said he loves family. When I talked to my mother-in-law, I felt a raw positive energy oozing through the phone. She truly was happy. I talked to Mom. Mom simply ululated. Mom was extremely hilarious while expressing herself and her happiness towards the news. My mother was happy for me and my unborn child. Dad simply said, I bless it. My sister barely finished her meal. Her eyes were filled with little tears of joy when I revealed to her that I was pregnant. I find being pregnant as an extraordinary experience. Now, having a new life develop within my body, nothing can compare. As they always say, pregnancy is different for every woman, and for every woman, every pregnancy can be different. Well, pregnancy left me feeling very delighted, anxious, exhilarated, exhausted, and sometimes all at once. From tender boobs, nausea, fatigue, food cravings, constipation, name it all. I experienced it all. But thank God I secured me a personal doctor for emergencies. Well, in my first trimester, I had a low appetite, extremely low and very weird. I barely ate anything a day unless it's something that I craved to eat. I literally had a weird appetite. Sometimes I would order for something I believed I would eat and not what I wanted to eat or what I can eat because my appetite was just weird. Oh, anyone that smelled good smelled bad. Terrible. I hated my own vomits and how they made me sick and tired. And I also hated that I craved for things that I initially didn't like to eat, like popcorn. Oh, I loved eating popcorn like all day. In fact, that Coca-Cola advert lured me into loving its drink too. So I would just find myself having popcorn and Coca-Cola almost all day. I didn't know if that was healthy, but that's what I loved to eat. Of course, with time, my appetite still weirdly grew so high that I love to eat shawarma. I love to eat pizza. I love to eat oily and fatty foods. I love to take milk. I loved ice cream. I loved anything that I felt could make me fat. And indeed, I got really fat, unbelievably fat, to the extent that I started asking for food while I was in the toilet. Huh? God, I guess my pregnancy season is the healthiest I've been all my life. I loved to rest. I loved to see my belly bulge. I loved my weirdness. I loved the changes. I loved the cravings. I loved the baggy outfits. I enjoy the new type of fashion. Because my mental health, the safety of my baby, and my overall physical health was on line, I had to quit my job. I really quit. It was tough, but I really had to quit. And I still loved my choice. I loved to work out, and taking walks was my favorite because I had to make sure that I get them bones and muscles ready for birth. I knew I was going to push. A lot of support came from my mother-in-law, my mother, my sisters, other family members respectively. But above all, my partner. My partner was with me through the different characters that I had for every trimester, through the cravings, running high and low to provide for my cravings and everything else. So he was just there. He just took up that responsibility of not being a partner to a pregnant woman, but also a father to be. And he is right now a good father and a supportive. Now, due to the fact that it was COVID-19 pandemic season, I barely had visitors at home. I very much appreciated WhatsApp messages or calls over the visits. Unfortunately, there were times when I really hated my phone. Like, I hated its feel, its buzzing sound. Just looking at it was disgusting. So anyone that contacted me during a time like that was indeed unlucky. It doesn't matter who you are, my mom, my dad, my sisters, my friend. I'll just look at the phone and it just disgusts me. Even the caller could disgust me. God, pregnancy. When I look back and just think of all the things I did while pregnant, I'll be like, wow, that was the most insane thing that ever happened to me. So I could vividly remember during the pandemic season, there were times when there was so much in the news about pregnant women dying on their way to give birth, or their babies dying on their way to give birth, or just randomly there would be news about people dying while giving birth, or the mother and the child dying while giving birth. And in particular, there was a time I was just in my living room, and I was watching the news, and there was this lady. She was, I think, working on one of our local televisions, and she was pronounced dead while giving birth. That hurt me so bad. It really hurt me so bad to the extent that I thought about myself. How am I going to give birth? Am I really going to make it? I started having weird, sad conclusions about how I'm going to give birth. Because that's all I could hear. Sometimes you could go to the salon, and all the girls and all that the women could talk about was just about pregnant women giving birth, and then their kids dying, or they die with the kids, or they die and they leave the kids behind. Sometimes I would be like, yo, I'm pregnant. That's when they could hush and just let the subject go. It was really hard. But to feel strong, honestly, I had to get home and get on my knees. Every time I would just get on my knees and pray. Every time I felt like I had a negative feeling about my pregnancy or what would happen or how I could possibly not handle something during birth or something like that, I would just get on my knees and pray. And to top it all up, like my belly was kind of weird. I couldn't walk into like public with a free, I had to like put on a jumper or something to cover it up. The thing is, my belly was like one-sided. It was not in the middle. I don't know if, I think my doctor explained it to me and I got it, but it was really hard for me to like tell him until the last days. And until the last days, that's when he said, it's okay, we shall work on it. And that's when I started to relax. But it was like the last days when I was about to like give birth. So I was worried. But every time I was worried, I would just get on my knees and just talk to a higher power. And my higher power is God. So it helped me a lot. And on the 25th of August, 2022,